Hello, Manitoba. I'm Larry McIntosh, and I'll be your host for the next hour. I want to remind you that Peak of the Market has a Facebook page. Please find us and like us on Facebook. We currently have over 90,000 likes, and we'd love to have you join the group. We're updating our status regularly with news on our charity events and interesting veggie tidbits. So please find us and like us on Facebook. My guest today is Adriana Findlay, coordinator for the Farm to School Manitoba Fundraiser. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Larry. It's my pleasure to be here.
How are you today?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got married.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, because I had to remember your new last name.
I know. It's a change.
So how long ago did you get married?
We got married August 14th, so, just over a month.
Just over a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you used to your new last name and all that yet?
Yeah, I think so. I've been saying it for long enough, I guess. Not with my first name paired in front of it, but no, it's all good.
And did you go on a honeymoon?
Not yet. We're going away in January.
Ah,
Yeah.
Getting away from the winter.
That's right. Yeah, can't wait.
Good. So Farm to School Manitoba, and we've talked about it in the show because I've been talking about what a great program it is, but maybe tell us a little bit about the program.
Okay, sure. So Farm to School is a unique fundraiser. It's a vegetable fundraiser. So students and children, we're available to schools and daycares. They're able to sell fresh, locally grown veggies, and they're all locally grown in Manitoba, provided by Peak of the Market. So that alone gets people so excited and eager to participate in our fundraiser because, it's kind of a big change, like selling vegetables, something fresh that they can bring home, cook with their families. So that's always really, really nice. And it's doing really well in Manitoba. And we've recently, expanded to other provinces.
And the neat thing about the fundraiser, and we have talked about it a little bit on the show, or I have talked a little bit on the show, it's a healthy fundraiser, right? Versus some of the other things out there.
That's right. And that's what gets parents, parent councils, teachers, principals, everyone on board. Everyone's excited to offer this fundraiser. And for rightly so, it's a change and it's a healthy change. And that's really big right now. So there's lots of policies being put in place in schools as well as childcare centers trying to, get children to have their portions of vegetables and healthy meals and servings throughout, their days at school or in childcare. So it's a great pairing for, as a fundraiser.
And we're telling students today, we want them to exercise more, we want them to eat healthy, and yet then we go tell them to sell chocolates, for instance. Not that I pick on chocolates, I eat chocolate too, but it seems like a disconnect for a healthy fundraiser.
I couldn't agree more. There's something wrong with the gym teacher saying, let's fundraise for our next, tournament by selling chocolate-covered almonds. So, this is, like you said, a great fit, and it just makes sense. Selling these fresh grown vegetables that are provided, locally, which is a huge thing. That's so nice to eat something that was grown right in the earth close to home. And it does fit into play with what they're talking about, what they're teaching in schools now. They're saying, make a healthier choice, get more active, get up, get moving. And so Farm to School really, plays into that. And I couldn't say anything better about it. It's just so great.
And this is something, there's lots of fundraisers out there, and you tend to buy things because a student and, whether you need it or not. But vegetables, you're always going to need vegetables, right?
That's what I tell fundraising coordinators. It's an easy sell, right? It's an easy sell. It's on your grocery list. Typically, it's on your grocery list. It's going to be in your pantry eventually, and it's easy for those children to sell them. And of course, you want to support your school. And really, in all reality, if you know a student, you're probably going to purchase from their fundraiser no matter what. But this is an item that you're actually going to use rather than, maybe a magazine subscription or chocolate-covered almonds that, you will eat. But is it the right choice? I don't know.
So is this fundraiser open to, what is it? Who's it open to?
It's open to schools. So Manitoba schools, K to 12, so kindergarten to grade 12, and also licensed daycares. And it's open to the whole province. So as you know, through Peak of the Market, we've delivered as far as Churchill, Manitoba. Like, we've also delivered our veggies to fly-in communities, which, is amazing that they're getting these prices that are Winnipeg prices, same as in Winnipeg or Brand in the larger city centers, and they're getting that in a very remote community. So it's really great.
So if someone's interested in doing the fundraiser, what do they do?
they visit our website. We're found at FarmtoSchool.ca. It's very simple. We have a very nice user interface that was designed for the fundraiser. And you simply just enroll. You enroll as a coordinator. You enroll your school or your daycare center, and everything is found online as far as order forms for students or children, information for parents. You order online, choose your delivery date there, and then when you're done fundraising, you pay online as well. So it's very user-friendly and really easy to get on board and join the fundraiser.
And what kind of profits would a school or a daycare get out of it?
Well, we're really fortunate that we're able to offer 50% of the total sales. So our bundles range from $10 to $20. So bundle A goes for 10 and bundle B goes for 20, and the school will get back immediately either 5 or 10. So that's fantastic. We hear all the time how eager fundraising coordinators are to hear that they're getting 50%. We've heard that, of course, they're reaching their fundraising goals a lot quicker than they would with other fundraisers. And they're also...
Well, you want to go to FarmtoSchool.ca and register. That's the first thing, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And then you have over 300 schools registered as of today, I think, when we were talking off air earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fairly simple thing. And they have to sell a minimum of how many bundles?
A minimum of 50 bundles. We haven't heard from many that that's difficult to reach. We also have the donation bundles that can be purchased going to a food bank. So that's also something that really increases schools' purchases. So it's really not difficult to reach the 50 bundles, and that just guarantees that we're able to deliver to you.
We're going to come back, and I'm going to ask you for a whole bunch of stats on the farm to school and how it's done over the years. But I really want to talk a little bit about the food bank aspect of it, because I think that's a neat one. So we'll be right back with Adriana Findlay, the coordinator of Farm to School Manitoba, after we take this break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. In case it slipped your mind, Thanksgiving is next weekend. Hopefully you have your menu planned and have a long list of Manitoba-grown vegetables that you're going to serve. Our Peak of the Market growers have been very busy harvesting their crops for your family to enjoy on Thanksgiving and every other day too. Here's a list of all the Manitoba-grown vegetables that are available right now at your local store. So it's a pretty long list. There's beets, broccoli, carrots, green, red, and Savoy cabbage, kale, leeks, cooking and red onions, red, white, and yellow pearl onions, parsnips, shallots, green acorn and butternut squash, rutabagas, red, russet, and yellow flesh potatoes, and, of course, pumpkins. So lots of things available for your Thanksgiving meal or any other meal. And please remember, if it says Peak of the Market on the label, you're guaranteed it is grown right here in Manitoba. We're back with Adriana Findlay, coordinator for the Farm to School Manitoba fundraiser, the Veggie fundraiser, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Veggie fundraiser.
So what is your favorite vegetable? Let's talk about that.
You mentioned beets just now, and I love beets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really do. It's a vegetable I find that I don't get to eat that often.
and beets, and I've talked about it on the show, but beets, 10 years ago was kind of a crop that was disappearing. We're still growing it, but it wasn't. But it's come back. Restaurants are serving it more. It's on cooking shows. It's making a comeback.
Yeah, that's true. The first time I had beets was in a restaurant.
Oh, there you go.
That's right.
Now you prepare them at home?
I do, yeah.
Beautiful.
I roast them.
So Farm to School Manitoba, we were talking about it off air, or on the last segment, I should say, about the food bank option. So tell us how that would work.
Sure, absolutely. So we're so fortunate that we're partnered with the Manitoba Association of Food Banks. So that is housed here in Winnipeg at Winnipeg Harvest. And so what that does is we offer for our fundraiser the opportunity for students or children to sell donation bundles. So it's a really great opportunity for not only the schools and the daycares to double their revenue, because a sale is a sale. Mm-hmm. They're also doing, some really good in the world, and they're able to say and tell everyone that those vegetable donations were actually being donated to families right here in Manitoba. So we're also so privileged to have 41 food banks partnered with this association. And so no matter where you live in the province, you can choose, if you're in Selkirk, you can choose the Selkirk Food Bank as, your your home food bank that you'd like your farm to school veggies to get donated to, or if you're here in Winnipeg, it can go to Winnipeg Harvest. So it's a really unique opportunity, and I think something that not very many other fundraisers are really able to do.
So if someone wants to buy an extra bundle, and we're running a radio commercial right now encouraging people, if they can afford it, to buy an extra bundle because it helps out the school or daycare, as you said, but it also helps out a local food bank. So it's really a win-win.
Oh, absolutely. You're helping out a local family that is in need of fresh veggies. And I know that we all take part in giving, canned items at special times of the year, or everyone does their part. And it's, of course, so gracious. But to give fresh, locally grown vegetables is really special. And food banks are so thankful to receive those items. So it's really nice that students and children and local families and communities are able to take part firsthand by Farm to School to do that. So
you said 41 food banks in Manitoba. So if someone lives in a town that maybe has a food bank that's not part of that 41, would they know that when they're registering, or how would they?
On our website, when you visit FarmtoSchool.ca and you choose your province, we have a donation tab, and there is some information available to read, and there's also a list of the food banks we're partnered with. There it is also listed if your food bank isn't listed amongst the ones that are part of the Association of Food Banks. You can have your donations delivered directly to your school on the same day that you receive your school order. And so with that, the school coordinator that is heading up the fundraiser can take the children out and donate those items to whichever organization they choose to, whether it's maybe a smaller food bank in their town that isn't part of that list, or if it's a church or some other community center, that's also a possibility. So you don't need to be stuck with those 41 food banks, especially if you're in a very rural area. You can have your donations sent directly to the school or daycare.
And I want to thank Winnipeg Harvest because they kind of spearhead this whole thing. So if you order an extra bundle, it doesn't have to go to the school, although it can go to the school. We deliver it to Winnipeg Harvest, and Peak of the Market sends a truck there every day, Monday to Friday, so it just goes on that truck. And they ensure that it gets out to that food bank that you bought that bundle for. So that's the key for us and for Farm to School, is to make sure that if you buy an extra bundle for family or for us, our food bank, it gets back to your local food bank in Winnipeg Harvest, and the Manitoba Association Food Banks make sure that's happens.
Oh, absolutely. They're so great to work with. And I know that at our kickoff just a few weeks ago, we held it at Winnipeg Harvest. And it was just so amazing to, walk through the building and see all of those vegetables that I know Peak of the Market donates quite a bit throughout the year. But then to hear from the organizers at the food bank saying how important Farm to School is to them, that's really wonderful. And it's something we love to share with people and inform coordinators. Every time I get a phone call asking, what's a great strategy? How long should I hold the fundraiser? How can we really, have an impact at our school? I always mention, the best way is to really push the food bank orders, because that not only doubles your sales, you're also teaching, children and students the importance of giving to those in need. So of course, they are on board, and it's been doing very well.
So I think last year is the first year you started it, right? In a significant way, you're promoting donate an extra bundle to your local food bank. How did it do last year?
Yes, last year was when we started, and it's actually amazing that there was 87,200 pounds worth of vegetables grown right here in Manitoba that were given to the food banks. So that's a huge number. Well, to me, that's a huge number.
That's 2 tractor-trailer loads, I can tell you.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of veggies going back to different people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it sounds amazing. It looks great on paper, of course, but, when you really think about it and you think 2 tractor loads, like, wow, and it's so nice to know that schools donated and families were fed for Thanksgiving dinner, instead of something maybe canned, which there's nothing wrong with that. But this time they got fresh vegetables. So special.
We're speaking with Adriana Findlay, coordinator for Farm to School Manitoba Veggie Fundraiser. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. I'm Larry McIntosh. I want to tell you about Peak of the Market's Recipe of the Day that will be featured in Monday's Winnipeg Free Press and at peakmarket.com. Monday's recipe will be rice pilaf. And this recipe has lots of vegetables in it, including onions, celery, and carrots. So get your Manitoba-grown onions and carrots for this recipe. Rice pilaf will be the featured recipe of the day on Monday in the Winnipeg Free Press and at peakmarket.com. And both the Winnipeg Free Press and our website have a brand new recipe every day of the week, 7 days a week. So please check them out. Peak of the Market is also on Twitter, so please follow us at Peak of the Market for recipes and Food and Friends guest updates. We currently have over 200,000 Twitter followers, and we'd love to have you follow us too. Again, we're at Peak of the Market. We'll be right back with Adriana Findlay, coordinator for Farm to School Manitoba Veggie Fundraiser, after we take this break. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. Peak of the Market has a recipe email subscription service, and you can't get enough recipes these days. So sign up to receive free recipe emails daily or once a week. Just go to peakmarket.com and click on Email Recipes. The system will ask you for your email address, the province you live in, and how often you want to receive the recipes. It's that simple, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Now, if you're like me, you worry about signing up for things and getting lots of junk emails, I can guarantee you we do not share any email addresses with anyone ever. We currently have over 27,000 subscribers to our free recipe emails. We have someone in every province and territory in Canada, every state in the United States, and people in over 170 countries around the world. So please join the free recipe club. Just visit peakmarket.com. We're back with Adriana Findlay, coordinator for the Farm to School Veggie Fundraiser. So we were talking during the break there, FarmtoSchool.ca is where they get the information, but we haven't really talked about how much the bundles go for or what's in them.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So the bundles, there's bundle A, and so in them is 2 pounds of carrots, 2-pound cooking onions, and 5 pounds of red potatoes, and that goes for $10. And so, like I mentioned in the prior segment, there is 50% that goes back to the school or the daycare. So that's $5 that goes back to the school or daycare for their fundraising, and then the other 5 goes to our growers. And for the second bundle is bundle B, as we call it, and that one's the big value bundle. I always like to push it because it's has a great variety. You get 3 pounds of carrots, 3 pounds of the cooking onions. You get 1 pound of parsnips. Now I love parsnips.
Parsnips are really good.
Yeah, really good roasted. Also, there's 1 head of green cabbage and then 10 pounds of red potatoes, an item you can always use, right?
Right.
And that goes for $20. And again, the school gets 10 and our growers get 10. So 50% goes directly to that school.
So you were saying earlier, but it's worth repeating, this is open to any school or daycare anywhere in Manitoba.
Yes.
So the growers, speaking of our growers, I'm talking about our growers now, so it's kind of odd that I'm asking this question, but they deliver anywhere in the province. So you mentioned earlier that they'll send it by truck, they'll send it by train, and sometimes we've flown it into remote communities.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about some of those orders you've received over the years.
Well, they're always really fun to get because my job with the fundraiser is not only, to talk about how much I really love it, but it's also to, organize those deliveries and get those orders in. So it's always fun when we have those remote communities because then I get to, get a little team together and find out how are we going to get these to Churchill, or how are we going to get this to, there are some islands up in northern Manitoba that there is either ice roads and we can't utilize those between September to December, so we have to fly it in. So it's always interesting to see the vegetables go from Winnipeg either to an airport and then they arrive and then they get either taken by truck or sometimes I've heard taken by snowmobile.
Right, yes.
Which, that's so neat. I love hearing those stories. If anyone knows anyone with those stories or pictures, I'd love to see them too. But yeah, no, it's very interesting and it's so great that we are able to do that. Sending out those fresh vegetables that most times getting fresh vegetables in those communities it's difficult and it's very expensive, and to offer it at, city prices, like I say city prices, but I mean, in Winnipeg where the prices are a little lower because the transportation costs are not nearly as high, it's so special and so great. So it's nice to see those communities grow and constantly, they've been coming back. We've been offering the fundraiser for 4 years now. So they come back and order every year, and their orders, they get bigger every year, which is great news for us because it means the community is, takes value in the fundraiser, and seeing that they're supporting the schools also great.
So the school or daycare would place their order, and they can pay with their credit card or send a check in, and then the orders get delivered, whenever at the booked on delivery date that they could do online. So what happens when the truck arrives? Then what's the school or daycare have to do?
So the school or daycare have in place their fundraising coordinator. And so it's always best to have at least a couple volunteers on hand because they're going to need to unload the truck. So that too is a lot of fun for the schools, I've heard. So it becomes almost like an event at the school or the daycare. So depending on the ages of the students or if they're too young, the parents get involved, which is a great community effort. And they unload the truck, and it all comes in like right off a pallet. So it's kind of neat and different because that's kind of how vegetables are delivered at stores. I always explain it's kind of like a grocery store. So, it gives them a unique perspective on, delivering fresh food. And so what they do is they unload everything. They get it into their school or gym, classroom, wherever, and they then create an assembly line and they assemble their bundles. So we offer these fantastic like sturdy, great grocery bags, and that's where the vegetables go into. So all the bundle A's would, of course, get put into their particular grocery bag and sent home with families, and same with the bundle B's. And so it kind of becomes, I've only ever heard it taking two hours max pretty well. Like it's not too big of an event, but it's still something fun that breaks up the day, and it's different. And we always hear good things from schools and daycares when they, get all those vegetables on delivery day. So
Yeah, so the school or daycare has to be ready for this because they do come in 50-pound bundles of whatever, potatoes or carrots or cabbage or whatever it might be. But reading our Facebook comments on this, we quite have to say it's a great team building exercise. It teaches the students where the vegetables come from and how they're delivered. So it is kind of neat that way.
It is, absolutely. It's a community effort. So when that truck arrives, you're getting a group of parents or teachers. Usually it's parents that are involved in the fundraising at schools and daycares, and they're firsthand removing all those veggies off the truck. We always suggest, you do 2 people for the packages because they are heavy. They're about 50 pounds. That's the heaviest bag that you'll encounter coming off the truck. And then, carrying that into the school and then opening up all those packages. It's a little like Christmas morning. Just kidding. But it is fun. So they assemble everything, and it's a lot of fun for them.
We're speaking with Adriana Findlay, the coordinator of Farm to School Manitoba, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. Food and Friends Radio is on TV. Each radio show is filmed and will be posted on Mytoba.ca later today. So if you'd like to see the TV version of this or previous radio shows, please visit Mytoba.ca. You can also listen to an audio podcast of Food and Friends at SoundCloud.com and at the iTunes Store. So please just do a search for Food and Friends with Larry at Mytoba.ca or SoundCloud.com or at the iTunes Store, and all the shows will come up for your listening or viewing pleasure. Now, it's very important for you to mention that Food and Friends is only available because of 680 CJOB and its advertisers. So thank you very much. So please tune in right here Sunday afternoon at 1 or listen live at cjob.com. We're back with Adriana Findlay, coordinator for the Farm to School Healthy Veggie Fundraiser. I'm just throwing extra names in there now. So we don't want to go through too many stats here, but this program's been going on full-fledged for 4 years in Manitoba, right?
That's right.
So how much money did the schools keep last year?
Last year, the schools kept $410,000, which sounds like a lot.
$410,000. So as we were saying, they buy a bundle or they sell a bundle for $10 or $20 and they keep half that price. So that half that they keep added up in all the schools that participated last year to $410,000. Mm-hmm. That's an amazing fundraiser, don't you think?
It is.
It's healthy. It's good for you. Well, same thing, I guess. And it raises money for your school or daycare.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely a fundraiser I think, everyone should consider. It sounds like many schools in Manitoba are considering it. And, the revenue coming back from it is fantastic. And you can't go wrong with a plate of healthy veggies and filling your pantries with Manitoba grown produce. I mean, there really isn't anything wrong with that.
So if your school or daycare is not participating right now, what would they do?
They would need to go to our website and enroll. So that's FarmtoSchool.ca. We are taking orders up until December 9th. So our fundraiser goes from September to December. And it's a really great opportunity, to fundraise. If you got on, early, you can fundraise with a goal in mind, which a lot of times is Thanksgiving. Other times it's Halloween. People have special dinners for all occasions.
Sure.
And just before December 9th, people are filling up their fridges and their pantries with, fresh vegetables for all of those holiday parties and holiday dinners that they're going to have. So there really isn't a bad time to sell vegetables, if you ask me. But
So it started in September, right? And it goes
Mhm.
through to December 9th, you said, right?
Yes.
So, and the school would sign up and get their orders in, pay, and it gets delivered to them on their agreed upon delivery date. So what's the downside to this fundraiser? Is there a downside?
I don't see there being a downside.
No? Because it seems like it's 50% profit, goes
Uh-huh.
back to school, teaching positive things. I don't know what the downside is. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. No, I don't think there is a downside. I don't think you could really go wrong with this one. Unless you don't like carrying, I don't know, heavy veggies home. I mean, but that's a form of exercise, which they're teaching in school is important. So, and it is. So I think it's great.
And the Farm to School program was put together with the Manitoba government, Department of Healthy Living and Seniors,
Right.
the Manitoba Home Economists, and Peak of the Market. We came together years ago. And one of the concerns that we all had when we were at that meeting was the weight of the vegetables. Were people willing to do that versus the box of chocolates? And has that been a big issue? Or
No, not at all. People just organize themselves. This fundraiser is one that, it takes a little bit of preparing on the coordinator's end and a little bit of informing of the parents that, this is delivery day and your child, if you ordered, quite a bit of bundles, they're probably going to need a ride home that day. And I've never really heard that a child was stranded at school with all these vegetable bundles. No. So I don't think it's really been an issue. People just adapt to change. And it is a change from, of course, the boxes of chocolates or whatever else was or is, out there. But it's a healthy change. And it's also, very positive. And a lot of parents are, really behind that. And they have no problems picking that up, that packet of vegetables on delivery day. So
you're also telling me during the break that the 4 years of the program, the schools and daycares in Manitoba kept $1.5 million. So
yeah.
that's amazing. Obviously, the program is built. If we did 410,000 last year, it's obviously building as years go by. But that's an amazing amount of money that's going back to local communities.
That's right. The program started in 2010 as a pilot, and that was, the test year where maybe some of those answers that you had around the table with our partners, you have to test everything, see if it works. But after that year in 2011 until now, like it's just kicked off, and each year it grows a little bit bigger. And now when we're partnered with the food banks, we can see that number growing each year, which is phenomenal. We offered it just last year, and 87,200 pounds were, given to food banks. That's amazing.
It's an amazing number. The other interesting stat from the press conference you had a couple weeks ago is 11% of the bundles that were sold in Manitoba were given to food banks. So
that's right.
That's an amazing number.
Yeah, very generous families here. I mean, everyone, we're called Friendly Manitoba, and it really shows through this fundraiser and those numbers. Like you were saying, 11% all purchased went straight to a food bank. So that's fantastic.
And just real quick, we've now launched this in other provinces. Can you tell us about where it's available now, in case any of our listeners know people in other areas?
Oh, absolutely. So we're available now in Alberta. We're available in Saskatchewan, and we're available in Northwest Ontario, just up to Thunder Bay. So everything west of Thunder Bay, let them know. Saskatchewan as well, our neighbors, and Alberta. So it's taking off, Farm to School, and it's doing really well, and everyone's excited about it.
And it started right here in Manitoba.
That's right.
We'll be right back after we take this break with Adriana Findlay, coordinator of the Farm to School Veggie Fundraiser. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Please join me next Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock when my guest will be Craig Evans, Chief Executive Officer for Brannings. We'll be talking turkey and chicken just in time for Thanksgiving. Craig has told me about they have a new slow cooker turkey roast that they've just launched this year, which sounds very convenient and very good. So tell us about that. My guest today has been Adriana Findlay, coordinator for the Farm to School Manitoba Veggie Fundraiser. So the orders are starting to come in already?
That's right. Yeah. Oh, they've been coming in pretty steadily. We're fully booked for, before Thanksgiving with deliveries. We've had one school in particular that's just kind of blown us out of the water, so to speak, with orders coming in. They've actually raised over $4,500 of fundraising in selling our vegetable bundles, and that's
Wow.
at Lockport School in Manitoba.
Well, thank you, Lockport. Way to go. And I know that Stony Brook Middle School in Steinbeck every year has done very well, too. I don't know if the orders have come in yet, but they've done great over the years.
That's right. They're another one of our top sellers, and they're still working on selling, I'm sure, because we haven't gotten their order yet.
Thank you, Adriana, for being on Food and Friends.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. Take care, and please, don't forget to eat your veggies.